Darko leads and is one of the top leaders in his field in design, and he has achieved many milestones. He works with a global company called Superside, where together they create amazing product and design related things for their end clients. We'll be covering today a few things, but before we get onto that, we'll just talk a little bit about what we do at Uplers and what Remote Revolution is all about. So at Uplers, we make hiring and getting hired reliable, simple, and faster for top Indian talents in global companies which are remote. On one hand, we have talents, and on other hand, we have global companies. The talents come on our platform, they register themselves, and then they can apply for available opportunities on the platform. We are starting this season, or we have started this season called Remote Revolution to help people get top global jobs. And for that, we are inviting speakers and tech leaders from global companies. Yep. So in Remote Revolution, we have top companies. We already had sessions from GitLab. The head of engineering from GitLab, Wayne, took his session where he explained about the hiring process at GitLab. We had engineering manager Manju from Atlassian who came and spoke about the hiring process and what to do, what not to do if you want to crack a global remote opportunity for Atlassian and the likes. We had Pragyan from Accelerant, and today we have Darko, who works with Superside. This top tech leaders and digital and design leaders are here to help our community grow. They share all the inputs and all the necessary things that we as individuals need to know when we apply for these global companies, right? What are the things that we need to do? What are the things that we need to learn? What is the approach that we need to have? And how the hiring process in these companies works, right? So based on those things, we can upskill ourselves and we can become capable to crack global remote jobs as well, right? So that's where we have Darko today, who will be covering a bit about his journey, how he became a top leader in design, his role at Superside, and beyond that, what are the things that hiring managers in design look for in candidates in while they hire for their teams. Getting a job in itself is not sufficient. Once you have a job in a global remote team, you should also know what it requires, what are the traits which are required to succeed in those remote global teams, right? So that part also Darko will cover, that what he expects from his team once the people crack those opportunities and they join those teams. So yeah, that's about our agenda today, a bit about Remote Revolution and a bit about Uplers. Without any further ado, jumping on to Darko's journey. Hey Darko, first of all, a very warm welcome and thanks a ton for joining and taking the time out to have this session for our community today. We really appreciate that. Would love to know a little bit about your journey, how it all started, and tell us a bit about your role at Superside.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Very glad to be here. So a little bit about myself. I'm a designer, graphic and UI designer. I've been with over 7 years of experience. I started working as a designer right off high school. Firstly, I worked on Upwork, Fiverr, and other things, other websites that provided me with the opportunity to do so. Then after that, when the Fiverr and Upwork market became very saturated, it became very hard to sort of like get a job and maintain the scalability of that one. So I started going into searching into remote positions that could also act as a full-time job for me, right as I was working from in my hometown. Then 2 years ago, I stumbled upon Superside. I think one of my friends on LinkedIn recommended the company, so I applied, and with very extensive interview processes, which we'll talk about it later, I got into the company, and I'm currently working for Amazon, Meta, formerly Facebook. I've worked on projects for Google and other big companies and a lot of smaller ones. My day-to-day work contains on I get up in the morning, I scroll through my emails, I I everything that I do, I try to journal. It helps with my process and how I approach things, and I know what to do on a day-to-day so I don't miss anything. And working in a remote environment, you can get easily uh, overloaded with information, and you can forget things. So I'm a little bit old school, so I keep everything in this journal, what I need to do on a day-to-day basis, and it helps me get a clear vision of what I need to do today.
Oh, that's amazing. So it's not just about doing things, but to be on top of everything, you note down and make logs every day, and that's how you are kind of in control of what's going on, what to do next. Amazing.
Yes, absolutely. Because on that level of work, one of the worst thing that can happen is you missing a deadline. Because on the top level of design, the clients that you work with are serious about their work, and they want us to respect the deadline. And missing a deadline could be borderline fail. So keeping with deadlines, keeping with all the necessary information. Communicating efficiently between teams and with clients in order to ensure proper and delivery on time.
Amazing. No, that's super. So over your journey, you first started off with Upwork and then Fiverr. How did you maintain your portfolio? Was it anything special that you did to stand out of thousands of other portfolios that would be there competing, even at that point in time?
Yeah, so the first standout that you need to make is you need to have your LinkedIn profile in order. So before the hiring managers and the recruiters get to your portfolio, they first need to see you on LinkedIn. And you gotta have a clear CTA. So your description on your profile needs to say what do you do exactly, because we live in an era that's the whole internet is keyword generated. So a lot of AI softwares that recruiters using, the recruiters themselves go with keywords. So avoid uh, bland or vague expressions of what you do. Uh, your first saying, your first point of selling should be your name and what you do. For example, I'm a senior graphic and UI designer at etc. But it can be a front-end developer or a full stack developer or anything that you want to do. So you need to have a clear CTA that the recruiters could find you. Also, when they say, let's say, for example, I open up LinkedIn and you have that already in order, and I type, I'm looking, for example, for a senior graphic designer, and thousands of results can come in, especially if you have the premium version of LinkedIn. What you need to do next is you need to have a profile picture that stands out. So I've been guilty of myself of this. Don't over edit your profile pictures. Don't try to make them look crazy and with all the special effects that may be good for a portfolio or a design, but your LinkedIn profile picture needs to be clear. At least a good rule of thumb is to have at least 80% of your face visible, so you can go straight into the camera, or you can watch in another angle, but a good rule of thumb is to have at least 80% of your face visible. High contrast images, you can have a clear background like I have on my profile, but having some setting where you're taking your photo is it's okay too. But always try to have a studio grade photo. Bold colors for the background, red, orange, blue, purple, high vibrancy colors that grab attention. Treat the LinkedIn profile like a design element, because when someone opens up LinkedIn, you need to stand out. That's the first thing when recruiters are after you, and they're always after people. And the second thing is if you're applying for a job. So taking your portfolio into consideration, a lot of junior designers are making this mistake of placing everything into their portfolio. They created a poster, I'm gonna place it on Behance or Dribble. I created a hero section of a website, I'm gonna place it into my portfolio. And you have 50 projects, and if I'm a recruiter and I go to your portfolio and you have 50, 100 projects, I'm not gonna know what to click. Maybe I click accidentally on the bad one, on the project that you uploaded just in case. So a good rule of thumb is have 5, maybe at 10 projects at max, which you put a lot of thought in it. So I'm a designer. I can't talk about developers, but for designers, you need to over explain your design. So not just placing the image of the design, the static image, and call it a day. Why did you use that color? What's the story behind the design? Because everyone likes a good story, and like like recruiters themselves, they like to sort of like be immersed in the design itself. So 5 to 10 designs with great thumbnail. So the one that you're most proud of should have the best thumbnail, because you would like them to first open that project, and first impressions matter, especially in interviews and job offers. Sorry. Other than that, it now really depends on the skill set you have and what seniority are you. For junior designers, having a lot of projects could maybe help you, because recruiters and other senior designers can see that you're not afraid to work, and you can punch out as many stuff as fast as you can. That's a good thing while you're a beginner, but as you go uh, uh, higher on the ladder, you need to focus on effectiveness, on strategy, on how to deliver those designs, how to sell. Because as a designer, you're also a salesperson. Firstly, you need to sell your ideas on the internal team. You need to sell your idea to your creative director, to your project manager, and then you need to sell the idea to the client itself. So learn the art of sales and how to sell yourself and your work.
No, super. I think brilliant. So a lot of us are guilty of only showcasing our graphic design skills, right? We forget that people who are going to hire us are also going to look at our LinkedIn profiles to see what kind of people we are, right? So very good point brought up over there, that first we need to clean up our own house and have our LinkedIn profile in order with a decent, professional, not overdone profile pic, and then of course our cover image and our call to actions very specific as to what we want that person to do once he's on our LinkedIn profiles. Amazing. So that's one. Then we need to put our best work only on Behance and other platforms, so that the person who is looking at it knows the best work and can judge by that, rather than we put everything and spam that entire profile and confuse the person to judge us by something that may not be our best work. So that is again good. And of course, to focus on the thumbnail so that it becomes eye catching in the first go. And you also mentioned the palette and the colors that we should choose to make our profile lucrative, which is amazing. So that's super. Now let's say this audience is have done that, and now they are uh, appearing for an interview, right? So how does the hiring process in a company like Superside or a top remote company would look like, as per your understanding, and what are the things that they should look at each stage? So we can probably move on to that piece now.
So yeah, if you have everything in order, and the hiring manager likes your LinkedIn and your profile and how you sell yourself, because in the business world, especially in the design world, you're a brand itself. How you brand yourself is going to reflect your whole career. So after you apply or you're reached out to, you're going to have someone set up an interview, set up a first meeting with you, which is meet and greet. In that meeting, you're only with one person, with the hiring manager, which asks you the simple questions like, tell me about yourself, and to sort of like repeat everything that's on the CV. But one tip that everyone can learn about this is that the first interview matters the most, because you need to set yourself up as friendly, but not too friendly. I know everyone is different, but a lot of the interviews that I've seen start with, "Hi, how are you? Yeah, and so yeah, my name is Darko. I have 5 years of experience," and stuff like that. And you start to sound robotic and unnatural. So people hire people that they like. Uh, you're attracting yourself to the company by your skills and experience and everything else. But when it comes to hiring, you need to have that friendliness coupled with professionalism. So the hired candidates always have that sort of resemblance, friendly plus professional, because if you're easy to work with, if you're fun to work with, people are gonna want to work with you. And that's the thing that a lot of people miss. They try to become to give that persona of like, they're professional, and they forget about their human part. And also when the recruiter asks, there's a trick question that every interviewer asks, is, what is your weakness? And there are two types of answer you can say here. So uh, I don't have any weaknesses, or just say something that is a weakness, but it's technically not. So you're just bragging to the recruiter that you don't have any weaknesses. The reality is, be honest. Everyone has a weakness, but don't don't try to overshare. And I've seen a lot of interviews go south by the interviewee oversharing their story. For example, what's your weakness? I tend to struck out during the day and start thinking about birds or something like that, and I can't focus on my work. That's a big no-no. So you need to tailor your answer depending on the company, depending on who you are. Try to be honest, but not too honest. Also, another big mistake that a lot of people I see are making is they don't research the company. They're applying, going on LinkedIn, easy apply, easy apply, easy apply, easy apply. A lot of the times, maybe you'll get invited for an interview for a company that you applied, and maybe you'll like it, but maybe you won't. A lot of people are not appreciating the fact that uh, you need to like the company as well as the company needs to like you. If you get stuck in a company or a position that you don't like, you're not gonna do your best work. You're not gonna sell yourself at the best, and you're just gonna feel miserable. So research the company, ask a lot of questions. Don't be afraid to ask any questions that you think can improve your interview, your life, and your chances of getting the job. So yeah, don't be afraid to ask the questions. Be prepared, but not overly prepared, because if you have, and there are a lot of answers and questions online that you can search up, and if you have a cheat sheet uh, to an answer to every question, write down, you're gonna sound like a robot. And so you're not gonna deviate from the answers in order not to screw up, and that's mostly the time that you're gonna screw up. because if you tend to follow a certain script, if the interviewer asks the question in a different way, you're gonna panic. So try to keep it light, try to keep it conversational, be professional, but be also friendly, and try to connect with the recruiter on a personal level. And when the other question that is standard in all interviews is, tell me a little bit about yourself. So you can say some things from your CV, like where you studied, how long have you been working for the position, and stuff like that. But you can try to slip in some personal fact. For example, I'm just saying stuff. I used to play football for the past 5 years. I used to do this. I used to do that. And if you're lucky, the recruiter can also maybe like the same stuff. So pick a generic thing that a lot of people like and make it your personal. Yeah, that in that way you have a reason to connect with the recruiter.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all about breaking that ice, right?
Yeah.
As and have that conversation rather than having he's asking me questions and I am going to answer to the best of my ability. Trying to have that conversation with him, where it's a two-way thing, would kind of make the entire process smooth for both. True. Yep. And how does the assessment process work? So let's say I applied now, I had this conversation. Uh, do do they ask me to submit an assignment, or what are the next steps in the process?
Yeah, well, if you get past the first step, mostly you'll get an ability test. An ability test can contain 2 or 3 tests that are unrelated to your position. So mostly psychological tests, your critical thinking, logical thinking, everything is gonna be evaluated, from playing complex video games to maybe solving a few math questions or logical questions. Every time the test is different. The company that provides the test are a group of psychologists, and I think it's called Thrive.com, where they try to assess a persona uh, by crafting their questions in a specific way that can tell them how are you thinking, uh, at least. So the logical, if you score high on your logical test, but you don't score high on your focus, and that could be an issue in the future for you and the company, because working remotely, uh, uh, losing your focus means most probably losing your job. So you need to be focused at all times. And without someone at the office hanging above your head and telling you what to do in a remote setting, you're the one you tell what to do. You have a task, and how you delegate it, how you work on it, that's on you. So after the ability test, if you most likely are to get to the first interview with the team, no matter if you pass the ability test or you don't. So the first interview with the team could be the recruiter itself, your possible manager, his team manager, and a few other people, at least, which are in the background just studying everything and how you react, how you speak, and stuff like that. So after that, you get an assessment, take home assignment, which is usually, for me, it was to create a branding and to create a landing page. And after that, you submit a test, they analyze it and stuff like that. And in the final interview, you need to present that assessment. What were your thoughts? How were you thinking about that? How did you come up to this conclusion? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Because precise communication is everything in a remote environment. In real life, we use a lot of nonverbal communication, uh, like you can look at someone and say stuff to them without actually saying, but in a remote environment you don't have that privilege, so you need to over communicate and be precise and concise with your words and what you want to say. So there's a lot of things that can help you. For example, ChatGPT is amazing at that. I use it all the time. I form a sentence and just paste it into ChatGPT, uh, rewrite this concisely and precisely for me. So communication is one of the top things that can help you land a job besides your actual skills.
And yeah, fair trip so far. You had your meet and greet, you had your ability test, and then you had your assessments. With the you had your first team interview, which was still an interview with the respective hiring managers or recruiters, right?
Yes,
And totally important because in an office I'm walking by someone, I'll just wave, he'll just call me and we'll have a quick 2 minute chat and get done with. But in remote, we don't even know if that person is available at that point in time in front of a system, and it's all about async communication and a lot of things. So fair point, we don't need to I mean, we can't say that just because I'm a great designer, I am also suitable to succeed in a remote environment. So fair
yes,
point.
absolutely, absolutely. Communication is key in every remote job. Absolutely everything.
Yep, true. Then let's say that that person successfully cleared that first interview and people like them, right? So what happens after that particular stage?
If you manage to go through everything, you get an offer, and uh, try try to negotiate. Uh, Try to always negotiate your offer, because what you had in mind, a lot of people, especially when you're firstly applying for a job, uh, and you don't have a job prior to that, or you left your job previously, and most of the times the companies are not going to share their salary, so you don't know what you're getting into, and the offer can vary from what you're expecting. So try to negotiate. Don't be scared. A lot of people are scared to negotiate because they think it will drive away the offer. The worst you can get, in since you got to the offer stage, you're most likely to be hired. uh, at least 99% you're hired, so try to negotiate your offer, uh, to adjust to the numbers that you had in your head. So in order you can get a job that you would like, in the company that you would like, but if you're actually getting a pay cut, it's not really worth it. So I love my job, and I assume you do and everyone else here, but the money segment of the job is also important. So negotiate your salary, or if it's non-negotiable, try to get a few more days off, a more flexible working environment, or a few other benefits that would substitute the lack of the numbers that you had in your head.
Yep, yeah, totally. Like medical benefits or dental medical claims and other things, along with paid vacations or whatever's there on offer. So
Yep.
fair point. Um, you talked about ChatGPT briefly, which is kind of helping you communicate better and more effectively and more collaboratively with your team. There's a lot of anxiety in designers, specifically who are in their mid senior level, let's say 3 to 5 years of experience, or probably 2 to 5 years of experience range, right? Yeah, because of the emerging tools like Dolly, and then we also have Mid Journey, and so many more, right? And now even Adobe is coming with their generative AI driven design tools, right? Do you think people need to be scared that AI and design in AI will kind of replace their jobs and they should look to switch their careers, or should they? What's your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yes and no. Uh, the yes part is a lot of the things in design are going to be automated. So template-based designers like crafting templates for Canva or stuff like that, they're gonna be easily replaced because all of that is automated. The one thing that they can't automate is the creativity. So you're steering the ship. Uh, the ChatGPT is just pulling the weight, and Midjourney or Dali or any other AI software. I would say learn to take advantage of them. You could get more work done in less time, and you can use it for brainstorming and everything else. I don't think at the top level, if you're uh, leading with creativity, if you're thinking of creative ways to solve problems, you're not gonna have any issue. I think AI is mostly here to help, but at the lowest level of any industry, AI is gonna replace it, and that's just the inevitable part of evolution. Like when Photoshop came out, people lost their jobs because they were sketching and doing work with their hand on the paper. And when Photoshop came out, it took a lot of jobs. It's going to be the same with AI, but in any tech industry, you need to stay on top of things. So a lot of new technologies are coming out, and you need to stay on top of that. You need to learn everything new that's coming out. For example, when Figma came out, it was a confusing software at the beginning. It didn't look like it looks right now. People didn't like it, and then they started adopting it, and it grew to a huge community. And a lot of designers that adapted to Figma are now doing UI work, UX work, and a lot of graphic designers that didn't adapt to Figma are staying behind and using only Photoshop and Illustrator, which limits your capabilities to deliver at the highest level. So stay on top of new technologies, learn to adapt, learn to use them, and use them to your advantage. I think we're safe. For the most part, we're safe, at least for another 10 years.
No, that's very reassuring. And it's true, right? Whatever, there's always going to be some or the other technology which comes up. And it's all about us as individuals using that tool to maximize our productivity. What work I could do in 8 hours yesterday without AI would be very less in comparison to what output I can produce today in 8 hours with AI, right? So my productivity is definitely going to increase if I use it the right way. And if I don't, then there will be people who will be learning those technologies and excelling ahead in front of me. I need to embrace that, and I need to learn and upskill that. I think that's very, very valid. And then of
Absolutely.
course,
And the other thing, designers are scared because they they think because they know everybody else knows about them. I know a lot of people who are also business owners, they cannot use Midjourney to save their life. They try to use ChatGPT, but using the tool or just using it at the lowest level and using it at the highest level produce very different things. So uh, learn the tools, you'll have no problem. I don't think a lot of people are gonna even try to adapt, especially small business owner, and even big business owners aren't really willing to spend the time to learn those tools. So it's gonna be on us to discover what's the best way to use them and how we can utilize that software.
yep, no, that is also very valid point. As a CEO of a company, probably he's more inclined towards being that leader, establishing that culture in the company and doing other critical things, whereas his design team would be the one which would be looking into this. So as a designer, your job is to be the best in that particular team. So yeah, that is also a very valid point. A company running in billions of dollars of revenue will not be having their CEOs do mid-journey things. It's always going to be the designers at the end of the day. That's true. So a lot of our people here are also interested in knowing what kind of resources are available to upskill themselves, right? So, for example, we talked about Midjourney, we talked about ChatGPT and other things. But if I want to up my game, what are the YouTube channels that I need to follow? What are some of the designers that you take inspiration from, or what are those resources, books, or platforms that you leverage to stay updated on top of emerging design trends?
Well, uh, I think for trends, you should know of them, but you shouldn't follow every trend because the thing about trend is that it's a trend. It's gonna pass. So every trend, let's say it lasts a year, or maybe even less. So focus on the core skills that make a design great. You need to know the trends that are coming in and out, but you shouldn't limit yourself. So let's say, for example, this year this is a particular trend that's been blooming on social media. So I'm gonna design every other design like that. Uh, in that case, you get dragged into this templatized field, and every other design looks the same. So try to develop your style, your way of handling things. Try to develop your creative thinking, because that what will set you apart from millions and millions of designers. So try to become your own brand, because every established designer has that sort of style. You can design from let's say ads for a cute coffee shop to heavy metal band. It's gonna be two whole different stories, but it's still gonna have your flair on that, and your style. As for how to develop your skills and YouTube channels and stuff like that, once you get to a certain level, they because they all teach the same. Basically, they teach you the tools, but knowing the tools is only half of the job. So the best thing to improve is to work. That's the only thing that I can say. Watching countless tutorials and trying every new thing out is not gonna help you in the long run. I see a lot of uh, designers, especially new designers, following the Figma tutorials and how to make every single popular animation, popular hover effect, and stuff like that. Most of those effects and animations aren't going to be used in the real world, because we need to consider a lot of things. One of them is scalability. One of them is how hard it is to maintain. And the more animations you have, the more weight the website has. And uh, a lot of those things are not real. People need to know the difference between real UX UI design and a fake one. Dribble is filled with fake UIs that could never in 1,000 years work on a real app, but people still take them for granted. So try to get, if you're a beginner, try to get low budget projects, work for a small amount of money until you get the needed experience to have in your portfolio. Then climb the ladder one step at a time. It takes a lot of time. That's the issue. It takes a lot of time. It took me 7 years, but maybe you don't want to work for 7 years and stuff like that. And these new courses and this hustle culture promises people unrealistic stuff. Every YouTuber that makes tutorials sells their own course, guaranteeing you that you'll become a successful UX UI designer in 6 months, which is not possible. Good things take time. Embrace the journey and go along the way.
No, absolutely. I think in today's time, everyone expects instant gratification. I click a button and I want to be a champion. But very well said that it's only going to be with practice that we become great, and it's going to take years of efforts. It's always about expertise, using that expertise to gain experience, and then you eventually will get growth as a byproduct. So very very well said. Now when you have worked with companies like Google, Meta, and many more, uh, did they give any kind of preference to any particular certifications, or did they just evaluate portfolios and the person, and they did not ask for any preferred certifications?
Well, uh, it works a different when, so I've worked for those companies while in Superside. So getting Google or Meta as a freelancer is gonna be very difficult, because most of those companies have an NDA agreement with the company that you're working on. So leaking information and stuff like that could be, you could get sued for that. So most of those companies tend to work with other established companies because of the trust factor. As for certification and stuff like that, uh, it maybe mattered like 15 years ago. It doesn't matter today. The
Oh,
only thing that matters is, as I'm saying through all of this meeting, your communication skills and your portfolio, your actual skill and your ability to think creatively, to think outside of the box. That's the only thing that matters. If you have a great portfolio, if I'm looking at the app that you design and it's working great, it's behaving great, I wouldn't care if you went to university or have 50 certificates or diplomas or stuff like that. I care that you did a great job. And I think most of the world right now functions the same, at least for the tech industry, for developers and for designers and for stuff like that. Other industries, I cannot say because I'm not in those, but for this industry, nobody really cares about that anymore.
oh, no, brilliant. I think so. It's a level playing field. If you have the experience and expertise, they are not going to say, "Hey, go bring this certificate or go bring that certificate." Uh, true. That's super. Now we have had a few people writing in chat about their English skills, which are questionable, right? How critical do you think English as a language is if you want to work for global team? What's your take? Like, you have amazing English, you can talk to everyone. If someone doesn't have those kind of skills, will they still be able to crack a job?
Well, it depends. You need to know the language well. So you need to understand everything that I'm saying, and you need to respond with the same level. The accent, on the other hand, it's not very important, because we in Superside we have people from all around the world. We have people from Kenya, we have people from India, we have people from Dubai and Guatemala or Venezuela or stuff like that, from all over the world. Everyone has a different accent. The thing is that we all need to have the sort of like the perfect English, because most of our clients are US based companies, and you need to have that sort of like level. You need to be on the same level as them. You need to know what you're saying. So English, I think, yeah, language is very important.
Understood. No, fair point. And then there are a couple of questions which are coming about cracking a job at Uplers as well, right? So I'll quickly take a couple of minutes to get that out of the way. So guys, Uplers is a platform for talents, and we connect top Indian talents with global companies, right? So all you need to do is go on to uplers.com/talent and then register, and then you'll be able to see all the open jobs at any point in time. You can apply, but in order to apply to those jobs, you'll have to clear particular assessments for that particular job, right? So if you are a designer in let's say you use Adobe Photoshop and stuff, there'll be a few questions around that. You'll have to clear those, and then you'll be eligible to apply. So keep an eye out for all the open jobs on the platform, and then probably you will be, and whenever there is a matching opportunity, you can apply and you'll be taken ahead in the process. But again, like Darko said, communication skills are critical. Without those, with clients based out of US, Europe, many other countries, you'll not be able to effectively communicate with them. And that's that's when those clients prefer people with whom the language barrier is minimal or non-existent. So that's a given. Yep. Thanks, Darko, for your insights on to this. Now, coming on to designs for people with 2 to 5 years of experience who are into product UI UX designs, right? A lot of times they work in large teams, in large companies where there are hundreds and there are large projects with hundreds of people working, right? uh, at that point in time they do not come to know if they are designing something what their end use of that design is going to be, right? It's maybe just a small part in a big thing. So how what are the right kind of questions that they need to ask to the people, to their team members, or how do they identify if they are doing something, what is it that they are doing, or what is the purpose behind why they are doing it?
Well, for every project when starting out, a lot of teams, including our own, will have a briefing meeting. So
Okay.
we get the brief, and the brief is deconstructed, and we talk about it, share ideas, brainstorm, and stuff like that. So everyone should know, no matter how much work are they doing, are they just changing the colors of a button, are they making a whole design system? Everyone should know what the end products should be. So if you're not getting that, you're not supposed to be in that team. But everyone that's working on the project should know what the project is about.
Got it. So it's important to ask and understand and dissect the brief completely, not to
Yes.
assume anything. And only once you have that complete clarity, then jump onto executing
Yes.
the task.
Ask 1,000 questions if you need to. It's better to be annoying than to be wrong.
Absolutely. So typically in India, people are generally, not for everyone, but in general, people are hesitant to ask questions, right? They feel that if I'm in a meeting, and if I ask questions, I will appear dumb, and a lot of times that fear is there to ask questions, but it's always advisable to ask questions, right? Until and unless you have that ultimate nth level clarity that you need.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, those things are forgotten. Maybe I wouldn't like to answer 20 questions in a row, but tomorrow I'm gonna forget about that. I'm not gonna even think about that. But if you don't ask the questions, you have made a mistake at the end, and it took us a week more to fix that thing. I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna remember your mistake. I'm not gonna remember that you asked 20 questions. So don't be afraid to ask as many questions as you think you need to sort of completely understand what the project is about, what everyone is talking about. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Over communicate with your team.
Yep, no, true, very valid point. When we talked earlier, now there's a question about research that you said we need to research about a company, and there are obviously some available sources, like for example that LinkedIn page and their website, right? But are there any other sources that you refer to while doing your research about a company where you want to apply? What is your approach, or what would you expect the other person to know about your company when you interview them?
Well, firstly, everything that you need to know about the company is already on the company website. If on every web page, if you go into the About Me section, everything is there. So asking, involving yourself in the company right in the interview is proving to everyone that you're interested for the position. Uh, that you're not just there to sort of like uh, mm, write a check mark on your checklist that you did the interview. So uh, find out what type of clients the company is working with. Uh, Go onto their LinkedIn. How many employees do they have? Uh, you can ask, for example, one question that stuck in my head is, if you hire me, how in a year, how would you know that you made the right choice? And it sort of like transfers the ball to them, and they need to play by your questions. So you're reframing the whole position, and you're leaving the decision on them. And also, one thing I forgot to mention is a lot of recruiters ask where do you see yourself in 5 years, for example. And the worst mistake that you can do is give them a concrete career plan, because that can come back and bite you. Because if you say, if I'm hired today, in 1 year I would expect to be like this, in 2 years I would become a design director, 3 years I would become that and that. I'm just saying things. And the thing is, you're setting a concrete expectations from yourself to the recruiter. And if you don't manage to do those things, you're gonna fail. And and failing something to do which you were sure of in the beginning, it's not gonna look good in the future. So refer from saying concrete career plans. I plan to be this and this. I plan to develop my skills and moving towards a position that you like, and stuff like that. So uh, refer from saying something concrete as that, and don't overshare personal information. Uh, at one time, even uh, a, a person that I was interviewing uh, shared that he was going through a divorce at the moment. That is an information that type of information you don't want to share with anyone, especially when with someone that you're seeing for the first time in your life. Think of it as an interaction in public. Why would you share non-relevant information with, let's say, a person you saw on the street? You need to sort of like get that personal connection that takes time to build in order to share personal stuff.
Yep. No, fair point. We need to be highly relevant and stick to the agenda, and show them that we are interested in developing our skills more rather than getting to a particular designation on my professional LinkedIn page. So that's very true. We have a couple of other questions. So how long does the process usually take in a company like Superside when someone applies to getting an offer?
Well, usually it takes about a month. It
Okay,
can it can vary on from 3 to 5 weeks.
got it. So someone needs to have that kind of buffer or that kind of timeline in mind that it's going to take at least 4 weeks to 6 weeks to get that particular offer. Okay.
So
What? Yeah, go ahead.
no. I was saying just plan ahead before.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Uh, what is good as per your opinion? Is it freelancing work with multiple clients, or is it good to have a full-time job? What's your thought? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there isn't a right or wrong answer, because it at the end it depends on the person. If you like more stability and help from other people, then full-time job remote is the way to go. But if you like to manage yourself like a business, then the freelancing is a good thing to do. You don't have to sort of like depend on Upwork or depend on Fiverr, stuff like that. Cold calling, reaching out to businesses throughout the whole world can also be helpful. For example, you can craft a message, let's say go, you're a web developer or a UI designer, and uh, in India, I don't know in India if you can access the US part of the internet, but if you cannot, there is always a VPN that you can use. So, for example, set yourself in a location in, let's say, Los Angeles or Detroit or stuff like that. Then you can type just like plumbers near me, and you'll get a list of websites or businesses, and most of them aren't looking that great. So you can just record a video of yourself explaining what would you do to the website, how would you improve it, and stuff like that. Do a little mock-up to sort of like give the potential customer a brief insight on what could happen. Just compile a message using ChatGPT, send it to the customer, rinse and repeat. It's a numbers game. If you send 50 offers, thing like that, uh, at least 3 of them are gonna say yes. So once you build your clientele, you're raising prices, losing clients, but still getting the same amount of money. Finding new clients, raising prices, losing some clients, same amount of money. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, brilliant. And you covered a very good point about telling that particular client or a prospect what needs to improve in that particular site or their page, right? So you are not just actually cold messaging anyone, but you are looking at their website, understanding very briefly that what can be made better, and then reaching out with that specifics, right? So the other person also feels that there is some value this person is adding in my life, even though we may not be in this in the business at this point in time, but and then there are higher chances that he'll hire you rather than someone else.
Yes, and also one thing to keep in mind when freelancing is pricing. Uh, you can lose more clients if you price yourself low than higher, because on stuff like design and and stuff like that, the quality is usually getting paired with the pricing. Let's say, for example, you're selling a diamond, and if everyone agrees that this diamond is 20 bucks and you sell it for 500 bucks, it's going to be premium product, because the premium is always associated with the price. So let's say a basic website one page is around $800. I've seen people online selling for 50. I'm not gonna hire that one, because if you're, how are you having the time to design something well for 50 bucks? So raise or lower your prices accordingly to the global market.
Absolutely. No, that's a very valid point. And you have covered this question really well, where apart from job portals, where else we can get this work from, and also the pricing aspect, where you don't want to be perceived as cheap and low quality. You want to keep yourself premium and top quality. So few clients, but then let that be premium and top quality clients, right? So a fair point. We'll take this one last question, which is that there's a person looking for a motion or a UI UX career that they want to choose. Which one should they choose for, or how's the market for both of those careers?
Uh, can you repeat the
Yes,
question?
yes. Someone is in the middle of choosing a motion or a UX UI career. So, what are your thoughts on the future of this careers in the market?
They're both gonna be relevant. People, motion is needed more than ever. So even if you're learning UX UI, you should still know motion. As we talked before with the AI thing, you need to stay on top of new technologies. So it's not gonna hurt to know After Effects when you're knowing Figma. A lot of this, especially when Adobe bought Figma, and they're gonna sort of integrate all of those softwares together, and they're gonna work seamlessly. So I would suggest learn the whole thing and all the other shenanigans. After Effects, Figma, Illustrator, Photoshop, it's all gonna come in handy.
No, lovely. That's amazing. So thank you, Darko. And for all our audiences, these are some of the next steps for you to stay connected with us and be a part of this amazing sessions. Darko, really appreciate you taking the time out.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for to everyone who joined our session. I hope I prove myself useful, and if you have maybe later questions along the way, and you can message me on LinkedIn, and when I have the time, I might answer. So thank you, Rushir, again, and Kushi for the invitation and all the support along the way. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Stay connected with us and see you.